All right, you're listening to Opposition Territory here at the Philadelphia Sports Table Podcast Show, the longest running weekly Philly sports podcast show in the world, over 12 and a half years strong. We got a great Eagles Commanders preview pod coming your way this week. We've got our good friend joining us who covers the Commanders over on his podcast, the Trap or Dive podcast. We've got the one and only Jamual Forrest, good friend of the show. My friend, thank you so much for joining us this week here.
Appreciate you, Jeff, and appreciate your patience. You know, it took us a few days to get this going, but
all good. All good.
As long as we can talk some ball.
Absolutely. Look, it's been such a bizarre season for both the teams that are near and dear to us. You know, you being a Commanders fan, you talking about the Commanders, talking about their season and trying to dissect what has happened to this team, and frankly, us Eagles fans trying to figure out what the hell has happened with this offense. It's just such an up and down season for both teams, really, especially for the Eagles in terms of the up part, up and down all over the place. And the last time the Eagles and the Commanders met, both teams were in the NFC Championship game last year. And things were very different with both teams in a number of ways. And yes, I know this Eagles team is poised to win the NFC East potentially, and they could seal it with this win against the Commanders this weekend. But I can see the Commanders perhaps, Jamual, trying to play spoiler against the Eagles, or perhaps at this point in the season, maybe the Commanders coaches and front office are really wanting to figure out what they have on offense and defense as they look towards next year and the future. What are your thoughts on how the Commanders are really going to approach this game from an overall perspective?
Well, they've been trying for months to win. Like they've never mailed it in. They just can't win. And I think nothing's changed. I think the last 3 games of the season, it's all about like the keeping the standard. And I say that from the standpoint of the coaches, like they have this standard that they want every player in that building, every staff member in that building to meet. And it's all about high level competition and competing.
Yeah.
And if you don't fit the mold, then you're not going to see the field anyway. And I think for any player that is on that field, they're going to give it their all. I know, like, there's also half the team is about to be free agents next year, like literally half of them. So
that's why I asked about like whether or not the coaches might actually be evaluating and looking at who they might want to keep around for the future. And I wonder if these next few games, like that's really going to be the MO of the team.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's kind of where I'm getting, like the last couple of weeks, and even before that, it's been that, like, since things have gone downhill, like they've been trying to find answers. And I think injuries sometimes influence their decision making, because like without an injury, you don't find somebody. For example, Marshawn Lattimore getting hurt, and then Trey Amos getting hurt. Without those two getting hurt, you may not see Mike Sanders still on the outside. They've been plugging him, forcing him to play at slot the entire season, and it's clear that it just didn't work out for him. And other things of that nature. When you think about offensively, Zach Ertz just got hurt, so Ben Simmons getting somewhat of a little bit more time. All right, so like, and it's not to say that because these injuries happen, thankfully somebody else is playing where they should be or getting more time. It's more so like happenstance, unfortunate circumstances that puts these people in positions where they can probably get more light. And so I think these last 3 games is not going to be no different than the last few weeks. They're going to come out there and try to get the win. It doesn't matter what their record is at this point. And it's the same reason why they haven't shut Terry down. Or they haven't shut Debo down. Laramie's going to miss this game this week because he's hurt, but he hasn't been ruled out for the season. He's going to try to swing back next week if he's healthy.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, these are all professional football players, and they want to make their mark in some way, shape, or form. And it's a good segue into the next topic, because on our opposition territory shows, we love to get in the strengths and weaknesses of each team. Again, end of the day, these are professional football players, and each team in the NFL has strengths and they have weaknesses. So let's go through this. First, what do you think the biggest strength of this Commanders team is going to be as we're heading into week 16 of this season here?
For those who are listening to the audio, I scoffed at the question.
Man,
Not at Jeff, but
the face was great.
what is
Oh man, I just don't know what to say.
like? It's so much that has gone down. There
Yeah.
is an answer, but I mean, and it's a real answer, but it could have been so much more if things turned out differently this season. The offensive line has been the strength of this team for, I mean, honestly, the entire season. And it's not a de facto strength. I mean, technically, obviously, quarterback would be one if Jaden was fully healthy, but still, like, a unit in the offensive line has dramatically improved since Laramie Tunsil has come on board.
Yeah.
Even Brandon Coleman, who was a starter at left guard to start the season, got benched after 2 games. When he had spot duty for Laramie Tunsil, he's got nicked and bruised a couple times this season throughout some games. Brandon Coleman comes in at left tackle. He holds the fort. He does a good job at left tackle. And he's going to get a full start this week at left tackle since Laramie's out. But that offensive line, man, it's been real solid. Pass protection has been on point.
Yeah.
I mean, the rookie has been one of the major concerns throughout this season. And I think the way I looked at it, Jeff, is like, personally, I don't appreciate where he's at in terms of like his technique and all those things. Like, it's a reason why he continues to get beat.
Yeah.
But like, stats will tell you, and it's true, but stats will tell you like he's not giving up pressures or sacks, and it hasn't happened in some time where it's like infrequent now, right? As opposed to when it was super frequent early on in the season.
Seems like he's developing. He seems like he's actually developing to an extent.
He's really good. He's impressive in the run in the run game. That's always been the case. It's more so pass protection. So like run game, I give that to him. He's a solid run blocker. But he's just gonna win ugly. And that's what it came down to for in terms of me trying to rationalize him in the pass game. Until he gets his technique right, it's just gonna look ugly. And you just gotta hope when he's winning ugly, like that he doesn't get the quarterback killed. That's all. That's literally it. I don't have much to say. Footwork is kind of the biggest thing. He stops his feet sometimes when he's in his slide protections trying to meet his set points. To match these guys. Sometimes quickness, he's having a hard time gauging where to cut that defender off, like meeting that half man, establishing that half man relationship, like things of that nature is what really gets him in trouble, is that lower half. And obviously like his anchoring when he has to go up against like speed to power rushers, people who want to like really just run through him. So we'll see, but that's his biggest thing.
Yeah, it's funny we're talking about him when we're talking about the biggest strengths of this team. But yes, it is the offensive line. I completely agree with you. Flip side of the coin, what's the biggest weakness on this team? There's definitely a few for sure, but you really hone in on what this team has, in terms of its talent and what we've seen this season. What's that weakness on this Commanders team? Biggest weakness. I love it, folks. If you're watching on YouTube, Jamal's just thinking, he's like, I just don't know which one to go with.
Yeah, it's like it's 3 layers. It's like 3 levels, all 3 levels of the defensive line, man. They all have bear their weaknesses. We don't have a pass rusher, a consistent pass rusher. Now Von Miller has 7 sacks on the season. He's playing like 30% of the snaps, right? He's not like actively out there every single down or majority of the snaps, right? He comes in when he has to. He gets his pressures. He goes back to the bench and he talks his ish. I don't know if I can cuss. So
yeah, you're fine.
That's how he's just like the mercenary in a sense, right? But outside of that, Jake Martin is good too, like individually, but like they aren't guys that you are playing majority of the downs. So they just come in and out occasionally. You don't have a pass rusher right now. And Deron Payne, ironically enough, has been the healthiest. Like, where's the interior pass rush? Don't really got it. Javon Kinlaw has been, he was good early on, and now it's like it's been super quiet on his end, right? And I think from a second level standpoint, you got linebackers who are solid against the run, but you ain't got a single linebacker who you can trust in pass coverage.
Yeah.
The only turnover that you really force in pass coverage, Bo Nix had to throw it right to Bobby Wagner, and luckily he caught the pass.
Yeah.
Secondary, just some miscommunication issues. Like communication issues. Like you don't have people in that secondary who is really on the same page all the time, and that leads to busted coverages. It's been cleaned up a little bit now since Will Harris, the original starting safety, has come back. He came back, I think, against who do we play after Miami? The week whoever
I'm
we
forgetting.
played after Miami. Yeah,
I'm forgetting.
Whoever we played after Miami. That's when Will Harris came back.
Yeah.
So like things have kind of dipped in terms of like coverage bust in that standpoint. There's a difference between talent and coverage bust, right? So like talent wise, you've been, sometimes you just don't got the horses, and they haven't essentially had the horses for a long time. But from a communication standpoint, they're there. But when you ain't got the talent from these injuries, it's just going.
Exactly.
So
and when
all three levels of the defense is the answer.
When the depth is not there, the depth is not there. And it's like that for every NFL team. I mean, not every NFL team has a tremendous amount of depth when injuries are really plaguing a team, whether it's offensively or defensively. So, I mean, as I look at what this matchup actually might be this week too, you're talking about the Commanders defense and all the struggles there. On the flip side of things with the Eagles defense is running on all cylinders at this point. And yes, they played a very lowly, weak Raiders team this past week. But again, I like I said on our post-game show, the Raiders, these guys, they're professional football players, just like guys on the Commanders. They're professional football players. And this Eagles defense held them to 72 net yards in that game, which is pretty astonishing. 0 points as well. I'm just wondering, Jamual, how might the Commanders' offense actually try to go into battle and really try to maybe dissect this Eagles defense? I'm not sure if it's possible, to be perfectly honest with you, but do you see any scenario in which that case may actually happen?
Well, I mean, I think comparatively speaking, we're just drastically better than the Raiders.
Absolutely. I agree. Yeah.
I think when you look at that from that standpoint, they don't have an offensive line. Washington does. Ashton Jeanty is a solid running back, and if he was on Washington's offense, I'm sure like he would look drastically better. But I mean, I say that to say Washington has solid running backs in that backfield. And I think establishing that run game is going to be most important for Washington. I think there's been times throughout the season where that's where Philadelphia has really like lost control.
Absolutely.
Defensively is like if you can get a ground game established against these guys. And so that's probably going to be Washington's focal point. It should be Washington's focal point. But then you think about Terry and Debo, that connection or that duo, it leaves you wanting more.
Right.
It's not super explosive. They had their most explosive day, ironically, against one of the league's top 3 defenses in the NFL against the Denver Broncos. And Terry had himself a good day again against New York. And I think from Washington's standpoint, even leading the offense, right now, Mariota has the better chance. Has give Washington a better chance to win than Jaden, just because of the inconsistency with Jaden's ability to stay on the field.
Right.
It hurts him, hurts the offensive chemistry. Mariota has seen way more time than him so far this season.
Yeah.
I think it meshes well with the group of guys that they have now. And I think for Washington, establishing the run is going to be most important. Getting C-Rod and Bill Krosky Merritt involved, and obviously McNichols in the pass game. But like, there's a lot to say about what Mariota can do with Terry and Debo, and maybe like a surprise performance or surprise appearance from Treylon Burks. Who knows? But it's I'm actually not too concerned about the offensive side of the ball. I think they'll be able to compete. It's that other side of the ball who just looks like they're just ready to give up 30 points.
Well, we're definitely going to get into that other side of the ball. We're going to get into this Commanders defense, what we may see from them, but we do have to take a quick break. Again, folks, talking to Jamual Forrest from the Trap or Dive podcast. Great podcast. And follow Jamual on the Twitter /X. He's over there at Let Maul Tell It. a great, great follow. And we are going to take a break, like I mentioned. But beforehand, if you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe to us here at the Philadelphia Sports Table Podcast Show. And you can also hit that bell to be notified when we post new videos. We're also on various social sites as well. Just search out the Philadelphia Sports Table. We're over on Instagram, Twitter/X. I'm over on TikTok at Mr. Jeff Warren. And you can like our Facebook page. We're on Threads as well. I'm over on Blue Sky at Jeff Warren. You can search me out there. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, more of our preview, Philadelphia Eagles, Washington Commanders. Stick with us. All right, we are back again with our good friend Jamual Forrest from the Trap or Dive podcast. Great podcast as they're analyzing a lot of what goes on with this Washington Commanders team. And as we're continuing the discussion here, Jamual, about what we're going to see this coming Saturday in this matchup here, the Commanders offense, I mean, they're going to be, of course, shorthanded, not having Jaden Daniels, Zach Ertz, like you mentioned earlier. They're not going to be on the field. So I'm wondering, who do you think needs to really step up for the Commanders if they're really going to have a chance to win this game?
Y'all arch nemesis, Debo.
Yep.
I think Debo is going to be somebody who, you know, he frustrates me, and it's not his fault. It's just like, on my podcast, I didn't do it at the start of the season. It's just a trend that I noticed maybe like 3 or 4 weeks into the season. All he did is come into week 1 with like 80-ish. I'm going off the top of my head for those that's listening and watching. Yep. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but like around 80-ish all-purpose yards, right?
Okay.
Or yards from scrimmage. And all it did was decline every week after that. Like it wasn't like he was consistently hitting those marks, super impactful offensively. That wasn't the case for Debo. He's had some spot performances here and there lately, and that's good for him. But in terms of impact for an offense, it just hasn't really been there. You see his value as a player. Like, he's terrific after the catch. He's a physical runner. And things of that nature. But like, how valuable is that for any offense, like moving forward? Do you need that next year if you're Washington?
Right. Right.
And if we're answering the question about who needs to step up, I mean, Cliff needs to find a way to get him super involved early and often. Terry, I trust Terry just from a vertical threat and 3-level threat. Like, he can find his way. I know Quinyon and him had their battles over the last 3 games.
Yep.
And that's a big deal. It's a lot of respect for Quinyon, but I think he's going to need some help. And I think it's big for Debo just from a contract standpoint. You know, he's going into free agency next year.
Good point. Yeah.
It's a season where we converted his money into like a signing bonus where he got all his money that was, like, I think owed to him later.
Right up front. But he got up front. Yeah.
So for him, I think these last 3 games are important, but this game against a good defense to prove that you ain't old and slow and like a team can use you moving forward.
Yeah.
This is one of those games where, you know, this offense can use your help. So Debo is going to be one. And I mean, there's several others, but he's going to be definitely a guy that you're going to need in the passing game.
Yeah, we got to keep our eyes on him. Eagles Nation, Deebo Samuel for sure. And in terms of this Commanders, in terms of the Commanders defense, you know, which I kind of teased a little bit before we went to break, you know, I do see 2 players, and you mentioned them earlier, Deron Payne and Javon Kinlaw, as the key players who I think are going to need to really have some exceptional play on the field to slow down the Eagles offense. Of course, Von Miller as well, in terms of the role that he plays. Is that what you're thinking as well here, Jamual? Or do you have any other thoughts on who really needs to play kind of lights out for the Commanders defense in order to stall the Eagles offense?
Them 2, as you mentioned, Johnny Newton doesn't get that much time in terms of the rotation, but you know, he's not that stout against the run game. But when he gets in, you know, you're going to need somebody that can help alleviate the time that Javon and Deron are off the field, and that'll be the time that Johnny Newton spends on the field. Like, you got to find, he's going to have to step up. And I think while he's like hasn't been terrible or even bad in games, he hasn't like stood out. He hasn't
Right,
taken
right.
over. He
Yeah.
hasn't really caused enough chaos. He wins with quickness, and I think that's kind of apparent with his frame, right? But sometimes when you get engaged, you can't just like have that getting driven 5 yards off the ball film, like
Right.
show your dominance
Yep.
in some aspects. And then that's another person that I thought to mention. And in the secondary, Antonio Hamilton had Dang, I always say his name.
Now you're sounding
It's
like me on
Anthony
the show.
Hamilton.
I know I do that on this show all the time. My co-host busts my balls constantly.
Yeah, I do this. I do this all the time. But the cornerback who had a great game last week. I don't know if Jonathan Jones is going to be healthy enough to play this week. I'm not too sure.
Okay.
I guess we'll get an injury report soon.
Yep.
If not, I think maybe today or maybe yesterday was the last injury report. I'll have to double check. But Jonathan Jones, if he's inactive, Hamilton is actually going to end up playing in his place again. And I think that cornerback spot going up against Devontae and AJ, and even
Jahan Dotson.
Jahan Dotson.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be that's a big spot for these guys.
Yep.
Safety help is going to be good. I mean, it's going to be important, but like those initial matchups with the cornerbacks is going to be most important. And if Hamilton wants to make some money next year, not to say that you're going to get super paid. You're 32. You've already had your 10 years in the league.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if like this is like a big opportunity for him, so like, what can you do? Sam Russell, of course, is like that's a given, but like Hamilton is just the person that has been elevated from practice squad, and he has the most important opportunities.
Yeah. All right. Well, buddy, before I let you go, every week on our opposition territory pods, on our pregame preview shows here, we'd like to end with these two questions, and it's what both teams are going to need to hit on for a win this week. So let's start with the Commanders here. What's the one thing that Commanders are going to need to hit on for a win against the Philadelphia Eagles this week?
If it's one thing, I'll just say mistake free. That involves no turnovers, and limit your penalties. That has killed them every single week. And surprisingly, we got a win last week because the Giants are terrible just as much as we are. But you gotta be mistake free if you want to get a win against Philly.
I think the Commanders are one of the highest penalized teams in the league at this point, right? I think they are.
I don't even have to look that up to know that. Like, it's terrible.
I love it. All right. On the flip side, what's the one thing the Eagles are going to need to hit on for a win this week, in your opinion?
Run the ball.
Just run the ball. Make sure Saquon's getting it.
Make sure Saquon gets enough touches this week. Don't abandon it. I think Saquon is in a like I've been thinking like the last couple of weeks, Philly's been trying to get him established more, and they have, and I think it shouldn't stop against the Washington Commanders, especially a team who just cannot stop the run in any facet. So that's if you establish the ground game, you control the clock. If you control the clock and stay on the field, you have opportunities to get in the red zone and score touchdowns or score field goals. So run the ball, keep Saquon active and early and often.
That's what I'm hoping happens with this Eagles team. But we're going to end things here. Jamual Forrest, again, folks, from the Trap or Dive podcast. You can search him out, whether it's on YouTube. I listen on Apple Podcasts. And I know you're over on Instagram too, Jamual, and Trap or Dive is over on Instagram as well, folks. Give them a follow. Check out all their content. My friend, I appreciate you. Really, seriously, you're always so good to come on the PST podcast show here and come back again. Join us. I'd love to have you back on the show, my friend.
Yes, sir. Hopefully we can steal one of these two, man. If we still want, because I'm tired of y'all. I'm tired of y'all your fan base, Jeff. I'm tired of them.
Yes,
if we can steal one, I don't care what happens in the other game.
There you go.
We need to get one.
Dude, I'm like that with Penn State, right? I'm a Penn State fan here, right? And all I ever want is for them to beat Ohio State and Michigan. I tell my friends all the time, like, if they just go like 2-10, but those 2 wins are against Ohio State and Michigan, like I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
So,
I'll take the other losses.
This
I don't
season's
care.
been terrible, but look, I still got some energy for the Eagles, man.
Man, I appreciate you. Come back and join us down the road. All right.
Sir.